All right. Okay. Okay. Let's go. One of my guys. Well, he's not guy that he's no Asmongold or you know Abba and Preach. This is also the weird thing. This Abba and Preach has directed a lot of their followers to watch Philip DeFranco because they would use some of his things that he said or news that he's um, giving. But I've never heard this guy ever mention Abba and Preach. Never. Um, Maybe they're too small. But he would 100% run to Ethan Klein and to Hassan, Piker, Tiki, Pucker. It's weird, um, because probably they're too well balanced with their opinion, and this guy wants to isolate the left and cater to the left because that's going to make him more money. Because that's what all the news agencies have been doing, because they know if you either cater to the right or to the left, then you have 50% of the Americans that will support you to a degree. And yeah, this is what all of them done. So if you have comments that are too, um, too logic and too well balanced, then they don't include you. They don't talk about you. You're not part of their little circle. So let's get
You
into this
beautiful
one.
bastard.
Now, I already watched this a couple of days, but I remember there was some interesting things, so I can skip to that and
Welcome
talk
back to the
about
Philip
it.
DeFranco Show. You daily dive into the news. It is Thursday. There is a lot to talk about today, so buckle up, hit that like button, and let's just jump into it. First up today, let's talk about Ariana Grande's body. Or I guess let's talk about Ariana Grande's body because we shouldn't be talking about Ariana Grande's body. And that, because she's been absolutely everywhere for the past few weeks promoting the Wicked movement. And just this past week, there's been an insane amount of viral posts really dissecting her body, right? The way it looks in certain photos and videos.
No, Ariana Grande does not look perfectly fine. She's getting older, guys. I mean, that's what happens, right? It happens. It happens to other people, not me. Um, yeah. Code red medical emergency, eating disorder. I find it weird how comfortable people are talking about other people's weight or their sexuality or with who they've been sleeping. Like, I don't care. I don't care if a person slept with 1,000 guys and you guys have evidence of that. I don't fucking care. Like in the Hollywood, it's not. It's not any of my business. Nothing. I don't care. I don't care if you know about something like this. She has people around her. I mean, yeah, sure, you can start supporting people, Hollywood people, if they ask for it, like what happened to Britney Spears, right? But for the most of it, these are actors. They make a living out of acting, not being authentic, not being realistic, but acting. And you never know what is happening in their lives. You just don't. I mean, look at the whole thing about Puff Daddy and the other lists that came out and stuff like that. These people have a lot of other. I have a lot of other shit going on in my life that most people don't know about, and for the most part, nobody will ever find out about. That's basically everybody, but it's none of anybody's business. These things are none of anybody's business, right? How she looks
People
and
speculate.
stuff. What I do have a problem with, and I can say this, if it seems like she has a eating disorder, not like she's dying right now, but she's very thin, and she promotes that, and she says this is how girls need to look. They need to look this thin. in order to be pretty, to make it on the magazines, to be models, this type of thing. Um, that I have a fucking big problem with. And for the same, if they are fat and they promote that, this is their channel. That's what it's about. Promoting eating the amounts that they eat, feeling healthy and beautiful in your fat body, and you need to accept that. No, I'm sorry. Um, we've seen this now. We've literally seen how many of these TikTokers or some of these TikTokers die before they even got 40. Um, so it is unhealthy. We know this. The rational, logical, intelligent person knows this, and we shouldn't be silent when other people promote this as a standard for beauty or a standard for living, or glorifying it as something, um, you know, worthy of to attain. That I have a big fucking problem with.
About
This
her
on the other
weight,
side,
with
I
many
don't.
saying, "Oh, I think she has an eating disorder." Some seemingly coming from a place of concern for her, worried she's not healthy. So other posts definitely seeming more intent on shaming her or calling her out to just prove a point. People also bring her Wicked co-star Cynthia Erivo into it, dissecting her body and weight as
I mean, yeah, she looks. eh, let me put it like this: I would never date her looking like that. It is not attractive to me, but doesn't matter. I don't know her personally, and I'm not in her life, and it is none of my business to comment. I just don't get it. The before, how she looks, yeah, that looks good. I can date that. Looks beautiful to me. Um, this this girl, I don't know who she is, but she looks beautiful, like the side boob. She's rocking it. That's beautiful to me. These two, on the other hand, I don't know if it's photo edited or what. This, I guess, this is the same person, but she looks like she's 60 years old or 70 years old. Anyway, there are people that's there. If they promote this as how you should be, and this is what beauty is, and the standard of beauty, then of course, comment.
well. And all of that then leading to a ton of discourse, people pushing back,
This photo is fine. Like, she looks fine there.
saying, "Have we not learned our lesson when it comes to commenting on a celebrity's body and health when we obviously don't know what they're dealing with or what's going on?" And some adding, centering so much of the conversation during a giant dream project of Ariana Grande's around her body is going to do harm, whether she's struggling or not. So I'm also saying that it's one thing to personally think someone's struggling, but I feel like commenting on that constantly is not particularly helpful.
I mean, we've seen this many times where actors for a role would eat a lot or train a lot and gain a lot of muscle. I mean, you can argue that that's unhealthy too. They just spend time in the gym all day, and that's it. It's you can. Why is it unhealthy? Um, I would say I think it's a selfish thing, but still, again, it's just I feel uncomfortable, writing that out and saying, "Oh, look at her," blah blah blah. I mean, I'm not that invested in any actor or actress
And
to
is
do.
not always coming from a place of
I can say,
concern.
"Oh,
On one
that looks
hand,
good."
I get how
That's
pointing
it.
out behaviors you recognize from having an ED might be useful for people going through it. But at
Okay.
17, she survived a terrorist attack at one of her concerts, dealt with the death of a former partner, and has had to reprocess her experience at Nickelodeon as allegations of severe misconduct
Okay, but this has nothing to do with that because we had a before picture of when she went into the Wicked. Uh, um, I don't know if it's a movie or what they're doing, but Wicked is a stage show, and then the after picture. So that is suspicious, but I just don't care. I mean, life, there's so many other things that are happening. Okay, let's move on. What is the next? Oh, this is
return,
massive.
with this decision coming from the Illinois Supreme Court. But also, before we get to why it was made, let's play some catch up because it's been a minute and it happened before COVID. And, I feel like we memory hold a lot
Yeah, this
of
Jesse
writing. We hold
Smollett thing.
this claim of innocence. And
Anyway, so basically, let's get there. This guy, that fucked up thing in a very volatile time. when Americans were at each other's throats about racism, discrimination, especially the black community. And we had the riots at that time, and we had, a lot of things coming to the surface, rightfully so, about the police, because, in my opinion, a lot of them are just dogs and they would just bite when they are unhappy. They do not cultivate a serve and protect philosophy. They cultivate a search and destroy philosophy. A lot of these cops seems like they are FBI or MI6, or they think they're the shit and they need to find all the drugs and the illegal weapons and the they very important. Their 6 months of training, or how long do they get training for? It's like a ridiculous thing. Um, that it's, in my opinion, there's not a lot of difference between them and mall cops. Security officers. They just have a gun, and that makes it even scarier. Because we've have so many evidence and videos of these people in America and how they treat people. You do not get this in China. They don't carry weapons, but I would be less stressed about a Chinese police officer wearing a gun than an American police officer wearing a gun. Honestly, I would be less stressed because the way they interact, usually in China, the way they interact with foreigners that I've seen and that I've experienced myself, I've screamed at some of them in the COVID times. Like I was, uh, you know, there's stuff that shouldn't have happened, and we had, I had heated conversations with them for like an hour or two, um, and they were calm and collected, professional. Um, Most of the times, this is what you will get in China and where I live in Beijing. You don't see that in America. Most of the stories are horror stories that come to surface. They've tried a hell of a lot of a PR job on YouTube to make themselves seem like the victims and how hard they work and this and that. But I'm sorry, like their attitude just, a lot of their attitude stinks, and a lot of the things that they do seems to me corrupt and no punishment at all. So that's my opinion. So yes, I do believe there was and still is um, that type of racism and discrimination against black people. But what this asshole did is, in my opinion, unforgivable. Um, Stirring up hate and hatred like this should be punished and should be made an example of. And I don't know why he's got the little Africa. He's not African. I'm African. He's not African. Um, so weird. In Americans. Anyway, so apparently he is not going to have a lot of jail time or something that's happened. It's going to happen to him based on what they have said. Okay, let's move on to something else. We've got Ukraine in the news. That is weird that the president has done that. Ooh, this person.
Keeping women safe, this move will actually have the opposite effect. And this, including the likes of Representative Alexandra Ocasio Cortez, who has repeatedly
I don't
slammed the
like her.
effort.
And what Speaker Johnson are doing are endangering all women and girls. Because if you
I
ask
just don't
them,
like her.
what is your plan on how to enforce this? They won't come up with an answer.
She's got crazy eyes, man. She's got that, like, what is that? It's antics. It's she's just an actor. That is what she does. She thinks politics is being this type of actor. Um, that's weird. It's weird. I mean, I just don't understand. Maybe a big part of the American population is dumb. I don't know. I don't have so many American friends. The American friends I have amazing and intelligent. But the Americans I see on YouTube is just the opposite. And when I look at her and what comes out of her mouth, it is antics to me. It's playing the game. There's nothing authentic. There's nothing that I'm like I can associate with. Yeah.
Answer. And what it inevitably results in are women and girls who are primed for assault because people are going to want to check their private parts in suspecting who is trans and who is cis and who's doing what. And so the idea.
Nobody's going to do that. Nobody's going to do that. If something like that, I mean, I think she's talking about a law that they want to through. Um, they will not be able to go to the toilets, maybe in a specific building, because you own the building. You have a right to say what happens there. And then they will say, listen, give me a medical document stating that you are a male or a female. Then I will let you proceed into the male bathroom or the female bathroom. If people are suspect, I mean, there are people that just you can see. Listen, this is a man in a woman's in dress wear, right? Or this is somebody that's transitioning, or something isn't completely, uh, you know, lining up with the traditional male or traditional what we know about women. There are people like that, and honestly, I, I mean, do I want a woman that's transitioning into a male be into my bathroom? I honestly, I don't like people being in the bathroom at the same time I'm there, but I can see how people are uncomfortable. I
That
definitely can
Nancy
see that.
Mace wants little girls and women to drop trout in front of who? An investigator? Who would that be? In order.
Nobody's gonna do this. I mean, the things they say is so fucking over the top and ridiculous to stir up emotions and to stir up hate. It's the same like the Jesse Smollett person. They are stirring up hate. I mean, the American media has been doing this. The politicians have been doing this. The people are just looking at these examples and like, oh, this works. Let's also do it. And I think, that is where the mentality comes. There's an angle. Let me play it. And I'll play it in this way so that it will make waves and I will get more money. Because at the end of the day, it's about money and power. It's
Because she
never
wants to
about
suspect and point fingers at who she.
it's never about sexuality or protection or women or rights, or it's never about that. With these people, it's
thinks is
always
trans
about power.
is disgusting. It is disgusting. And
You're disgusting. Okay, I had enough. I mean, I can look at her for 2 minutes and you can see the way she talks and what she says. I mean, you really need to be a dumb fucker to not be able to see that. Like, really, you need to be so fucking blind to not be able to see this. Um, anyway, maybe people have lived in America for too long and it's just the norm. But it's not my norm. He's selling some stuff, selling some stuff. I don't know what else he's talking about. Toll free number, blah blah blah. I think that's it. Ooh, what's this?
Curriculum. Right? We talked about what that would look like K to 5 and who was supporting it and who was against it. And in the comments, not many.
Let's see.
So yeah, do it. It's a win-win. Then, as promised, let's talk about yesterday with a little commentary, right? Because there were a lot of comments and they kind of focused on two stories. The first being about the Texas Education Board backing a controversial Bible-infused curriculum, right? We talked about what that would look like K to 5 and who was supporting it and who was against it. And in the comments, not many people were a fan. Folks saying stuff like, if you want your child to have a religious education, send them to a religious school. If you want them to read the holy book of your choosing, read it to them. And going on to say, it's insane how those who boast about America being a free country want to shove their religion into everything. And while most of the replies to that comment were very supportive, you also had some pushing back.
No, I know for years people have pushed atheism. People have pushed, Islam. People have pushed other religions, and at some point, because I mean, Christianity was in most of the in the schools. Then it was taken out, and that was a big thing. But America, as it is today, its foundation is the Bible. Its foundation is the Bible. Its law is the Bible. Its philosophy comes from the Bible. Its way of living comes from the Bible. It is the cornerstone of Western civilization. And to think that you can just separate all these things, um, I do believe to separate state and church, but to think that it will be separate from education when all these other parties are pushing for their fucking agenda, including the new religions, for transgenderism and what people will call the alphabet people. What is it again? I'm, I don't even know. Gay and lesbian, and anyway, my gay friends are gonna be so pissed that I forgot their slogans. I'm sorry, guys. Sorry. It's just sometimes it's just too much. I just can't remember all of it. Anyway, but there has been so many agendas being pushed in the educational fields, that of course, it's going to be pushed back from Christianity as well. It sometimes feels like it's all these agendas versus Christianity, which sort of makes sense because I mean it is the foundation of Western civilization, in my opinion. But yeah, I don't see it as a good thing. I think sure there needs to be space for it, but how you make space for that is I mean, even in my country, we used to open with prayer. We used to read Bible. We had, I was part of the religious groups and how we organize stuff and so on. We can have a chat about that at some point. But it's still a very traditional country in that sense. And yeah, just I'm not gonna be pissed off if people are not going to read the Bible or pray, because most of the time I just think it comes from people that's hypocritical at their in itself, or use it as a way to judge others or to have a measuring staff which they think they are perfect at. Um, so I'm not going to miss it. And it is something you can practice at your own house. You don't need to practice that. But that said, there needs to be space when people are religious to be able to talk about their religion freely without judgment. If I want to pray in class, I want to pray in class. Others don't need to pray with me. If there's a person that's Muslim and they want to pray, do their thing, I don't need to feel, uh, you know, uh, weird about it or that I don't want that. I don't need to engage in that. I don't need to react to that. That is their business. They should be free to do their business within their space that they are living or standing or walking. That's just my opinion. So, but making it part of the curriculum, um, yeah, I can definitely see how they want to do this because we've made everything else part of the curriculum now.
Back. People
So
like
why
MDED
not
arguing can also
Christianity?
be said on the contrary
LGBTQ plus. There we go.
about LGBTQ plus
Clicked a
acceptance.
little
And
bit
adding, I know I'll
later.
be flamed on this, but it's true and you can't deny it. With there being a fair share of back and forth there, some replying there are a few very can also be said on the contrary.
Can also be said on the contrary about acceptance. I know I'll be flamed. It's true. Only for 54. I'm surprised that Philip DeFranco's read this message. I've messaged stuff that he's deleted or blocked. He will never read a message that I say. Anyway, that's it for today.